he's in a lot of trouble. It's a little bit of micro going on here. White Raw's got to survive. All White Raw has to do is survive. If he doesn't fall behind here, he's considered very, very far ahead.
Yeah, we get the additional, but White Raw is actually scaling very nicely. Actually, CrunCher has a little bit of a lead. White Raw needs a little bit more time. One more Zealot is coming out, and he starts to engage. And it looks like, oh, this poor Zealot. He's being 3-on-1.
Excellent micro from Raw so far. Oh, a third gateway. I didn't see that.
Wow.
That's brutal. That's brutal. The longer this game goes, the more Zealots he's going to have at his disposal. Here's the big altercation. And again, White Raw just coming out on top every single time. Perfect micro, getting those units into the proper pairings. And CrunCher he's on the run. I mean, again, he has the Zealot advantage here, but it's only momentary. I mean, he's not doing anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, White Raw is just stopping any form of engagement going on. Keep in mind that any form of trade is bad for CrunCher, and now the big engagement ensues, and it looks like White Raw will come out on top.
He's way ahead.
Yeah. And wow,
it's a 5
two
lead.
very, very weakened Zealots are pulled back. And
he's
like, nah, I'll let you have it, CrunCher. He
doesn't even care.
And it looks like White Raw will take it. He just keeps following his opponent all the way back to his gateways. I just love this cam, man.
And CrunCher's on the fence.
Yep.
This is not good, or on the ropes rather. White Raw pulling back to win his Zealots. Nice micro getting him completely out of the battle, then returning when he's deselected. In fact, he's actually mismanaging this just a little bit, but I feel like he can just dwarf the production of CrunCher. CrunCher behind both of them. And that's it. GG the proxy gates, and CrunCher falls in this first game 0-1. Well, all the yards. And we're off. Game number 2 between CrunCher and White Raw. CrunCher from Team Complexity, White Raw from Duckload. We do have the map being Terminus, and this match is again brought to you by GoSuCoaching.com. Give them a big, big hug. Give them an esports hug. Head over to their website, check them out. Even if you're not into coaching, they do other things as well, tournaments, show matches. The GCPL, Retorp and I actually had the honor of commentating for that and participating in it. We're both players as well. So GoSuCoaching.com has sponsored this match specifically, and we want to give them a big thanks. Thank you to GoSuCoaching.com. Now, at the 12 o'clock position, Viz Duckload Raw, again building that pylon very much so inside his base. And this time, if he scouts wrongly, it'll be right. There's no wrong way here.
And CrunCher spawning in the 6 o'clock position. No proxy, no cheeses coming out from him.
Straight up.
Now, Mr. In Control, you are our resident expert of PvP. And in these cross positions, I know I've seen 4-gate coming out from you and CrunCher when you guys played your match.
Right.
But what can we sort of expect, or because it is cross positions, you guys have sort of close positions, but now we have cross. I'm sure it's a lot easier to defend, or not a lot, but it is marginally easier to defend against 4 gates. Yeah. What can we expect to see on a map like Terminus Ray?
Well, in PvP, like you were saying, anything's possible. The 4-gate can still happen here specifically because it's not necessarily good positions for 4-gate. Sometimes it's all the reason you need to do that. But I'm predicting a macro game just because I know actually White Raw, more often than not, will play to the map. Like if the map's a macro map, we'll see like a 1 or 2 gate robo out of him. Sometimes 3-gate defensively, but he's actually one of those guys that will sneak the robo in fairly early. That's his form of risk taking. He likes the utility. We've seen a lot of Warp Prism play out of him, the Fast Observer, even Immortal pushes. I think that's just kind of the crux of his Protoss versus Protoss style. And CrunCher, on the other hand, I've seen a lot of Phoenix play out of him.
Yeah.
So if there were to be any kind of Phoenix play in this series between these two, I feel like this is the map for it, especially in cross-map positions. And the reason for that is, again, the Phoenix is pretty weak before you get up to like 5 or 6 of them. And you want as much space between you and your opponent up until that point in time as you can get. So this map is just kind of built around, hey, if you've got fast-moving units, you're in a good shape.
Yeah, I would love to see Phoenix. Actually, CrunCher, I know as well, loves that type of play. And it's really nice. You can always see what's my opponent's army composition. Are they going Immortals and Phoenixes, or are they going something like just Mass Colossus, regular ground units? And it's just really nice to get in there and be able to play optimal. And that's one of the hardest parts about Protoss versus Protoss. You can deny observers, but you definitely cannot deny Phoenixes. They're just way too fast.
They're too fast. They're, it's like the pre-Ritalin age. They're just running around causing problems. Gotta drug them up a little bit,
Well said. Well said. Does that mean nerf? Did you just say nerf the Phoenix
No,
Deploys, or
man,
did you hear that?
If anything, they need a buff. I think they should be able to graviton beam everything. Like they can pick up a Nexus and shoot and stuff.
But you need 2 Phoenixes to pick up an Nexus.
If
it was just one.
It's like they're struggling to hold it up there. You can feel their duress. Game shaping up, both players just kind of feeling each other out. Interestingly enough, I like how active CrunCher is with his probe. If you notice, both on the map and in the inside his own base. Actually, it was a stalker, I guess. Checking around. You don't want that pylon. And there's that probe. Does he get the probe?
He's gonna get it. He's gonna get it.
He does. Okay, so what that means is that for all intents and purposes, he has to feel like there's no pylon on his half the map. So if there was any kind of 2, 3, 4 gate push, that was the thing that kind of shoves him to the ground. That's what stops it from happening.
It delays so much, but look at this. Duckload Raw. I mean, is this standard? This is craziness.
It's standard crazy, to be honest. Like, the Protoss philosophy is that you need 3 gates to hold off a 4 gate, at the least. Anything less than that is crazy business. Like, yeah, you can do it. I know it's not entirely luck-based, but if you make any mistake whatsoever, you're completely dead. And I constantly see White Raw going 1 gate robo, 2 gate robo. It was 2 gate robo this time, then adding the 3rd gate. There's that Stargate. Ooh. God, I feel so smart right now.
Gosh,
I'm gonna stop talking about stuff in the past because I'm just happy with what I did about the future.
You're pretty good, man.
My brain feels strong.
You are pretty good. And I think this is a great response, actually, to Duckload Raw. Well,
does he know about it yet?
No, of course he doesn't know, but I think it's lucky, I should say.
It's a good dice roll.
It's a good dice roll,
absolutely.
Because he could be in a lot of trouble. I mean, 7 minutes, that's the fastest Dark Templar tech that you can get. And right now, Duckload Raw, he does kind of threaten that a little bit. He only showed 1 Stalker, so it's not like CrunCher knows for certain that there's no Dark Templar tech, but that is kind of all in. I guess he's banking on Duckload Raw saying, okay, I'm not going to risk my entire game on this 1 Dark Templar rush.
Well, Duckload Raw, I mean, he is fairly predictable in the PvP matchup in that he does this a lot. He loves the straight gateway play. He'll do the Colossus timing with range or without if it needs to go to that. It's safe to play against him and say, okay, I feel like this guy is going to go Robo. And that's what you want with your Phoenix. You don't want to face Blink Stalkers. You don't want to face a 4-gate. You don't want to face, other Stargates for Pete's sakes, or even DT. But here we have him facing the Robo, so CrunCher's got to be comfortable with these positions. He is massing up the Phoenix for right now. And actually, I want to say, is there even an Observer out for Raw? I feel like there's just the Immortal.
No, I don't think
he
there
went
is.
Immortal first. He's reading Aggression.
Yeah,
no Observer, which is very peculiar.
Oh, look at that. So Nexus goes down, and also Nexus for CrunCher.
Same time.
Both these players playing extremely bold. Now, I like the Photon Cannon. I guess now he's like, okay, I have to be careful that there are threat of Dark Templars. But also keep in mind, he's spending a lot of money on these Phoenixes. So
there they go.
To scale proportionally with the Duckload Raw's units, he has to get the cannons out.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, otherwise you're just taking a bigger risk than even necessary. And now Phoenix are going to make their way to the middle line. And, okay, just taking it to her. That's weird. That's like a helicopter ride.
Like, whatever.
You guys should kill some.
Yeah, they
might be looking for the Sentry.
Them.
They pick it up and kill it 2 seconds later, and it's huge because it's gathered a lot of mana by now.
Yeah.
But right now they're just kind of taking it to her, making sure he's safe. He's got to be happy with what he saw. Like I said, he's not seeing anything alarming. Their expansions are at about the same time.
There it is.
There it goes.
Bye-bye.
And you should even shoot Zealots because they die about 2 seconds later as well.
Not a good exchange, actually. You want to keep that Phoenix. Oop. They're so elusive. I'm trying to follow them. It's like impossible. I'll just do the follow.
Oh, what's up, technology?
What's up? That's what's up.
Can't escape from me now.
Now, we can see that CrunCher has gone ahead taking his expansion, getting a fast double gas. I do like that. He has to scale correctly, and he is ahead in economy. Five workers ahead. Now we can see he just keeps doing this constant pokes. He does see that the Twilight Council is up, and I like that play. Getting that fast Blink Stalkers just to... Oh.
Yep, I agree. And here's the thing I like about White Raw. Not overreacting. Just parks his Stalkers in the separate mineral lines. I don't think he's even made a Photon Cannon yet. He will before he leaves. I'm almost guaranteeing it. But not freaking out. Not forcing it in the earlier stages of his economy because that would hurt him. That would put him at a disadvantage. So I really like what he's doing. Also, I like CrunCher's follow. The double robo, we can anticipate probably Colossus from here with a couple of mortals. And because he being Whiterot has to go so stalker heavy to counter those Phoenix, the Colossus are going to have a heyday.
Yeah. I think it'll set up really nicely for him. We can see also CrunCher is getting ready to expand yet again. Wow, that is very, very bold. And we can see on the units tab. However, Duckload Raw is ahead in supply.
He's producing a lot of units.
I mean, yeah, he has a lot of freaking units. And look at that, there's not a ton of units for our player CrunCher. So he's really overinvesting in his economy. He's actually looking pretty scary, to be honest. He's taking a huge risk. And hoping that if he goes to endgame, he'll have a really nice advantage in the Colossus count, I do believe.
Well, I actually have to say, I think CrunCher's playing this better. The map allows him to take those economic risks right now because Whiterot is opting not to build the photon cannons. He's forced to warp in more units.
Yeah.
And it's building up to a timing, but it's being read thoroughly by CrunCher. So essentially what Whiterot is doing is saying, I'm going to build units and I don't care what you think or what you're going to do. I'm just going to build more units and kill you with it. But CrunCher has all this time to look at that and say, oh gosh, I really need to chrono boost out Colossus by the mass. Otherwise, I'll fall victim to this. And I feel like off the double robo, if you look, CrunCher's actually ahead in just about every category. I mean, his upgrade's the same with the Lance upgrade. He's got more Colossus, so I don't know. I feel like this is shaping up really nice for CrunCher.
Yeah, especially with the double robo. He's going to scale a lot better, I think, going into endgame. But we'll see. Looking at the upgrades real quick, we have Duckload Raw at 000, and also CrunCher at 000. But both of them are getting the +1, excuse me.
Yeah.
So they will, I mean, CrunCher is slightly ahead because he had this Forge out for quite some time. But now these two Colossus are out, I think CrunCher was absolutely perfect.
And I don't know, these Phoenix are being fairly, I mean, they're getting thwarted. It's not like it's CrunCher doing that, but he's got to be careful. You know, he's only got the 5, and they still have utility later in the game, so don't throw them away. But CrunCher's sitting on the vastly superior expansion timing, and he's chrono boosting out twice as many Colossus. Still, actually, there's the second robo for Whiterot, quite delayed. And I think he overappreciated the Phoenix. If the Phoenix numbers are growing, like if it goes 5, then it's 8, then it's 10. Now I think you need to have tons and tons of stalkers. But as it is, it's been 5, and I think the most there ever was 6. And if you, the Stargate not doing anything. So Whiterot overappreciating the Phoenix, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, and because of that, I think CrunCher is taking just a massive lead. I did think there was a little bit of a timing, although it's kind of a blind timing. There's no great way for Whiterot to get a good scout in to see, oh, this is my timing attack. So theoretically, CrunCher is sound, but overall, I mean, there could be, you know, if someone studies this replay, CrunCher could be in a little bit of trouble. But as it is, I think CrunCher is playing this perfectly, to be completely honest.
I mean, both players are now chrono boosting out double Colossus. I think Whiterot is at a 1 or 2 Colossus deficit. It's going to be kind of a question of who chrono boosts out more. It's very important that you remain staunch in chrono boosting the crap out of those Colossus. Everything else doesn't necessarily need to be chrono boosted. Of course, upgrades are important. Right now, CrunCher's winning in the chrono boost war as well, which again sounds kind of silly to be nitpicking that, but I'll tell you, it translates differently. And oh my gosh, I love that expansion by CrunCher. It's not a hidden expansion per se, but it's not like a natural base. The natural one would be right in the middle of the map, but that's easy for the Protoss to attack into a linear place, like a spearhead attack kills all bases. Whereas this throws him off. If he wants to go after that base, then that opens up at least an awareness for CrunCher.
And if CrunCher cannons that up, you have to commit a lot more units than you want to, and it might open some counterattack options, or just cutting off the reinforcements. Let's say I meet up with the entire army, even over here, and, you know, as CrunCher, he would get that arc. It makes it very, very nice for him. So, you know, possibility of a lot of different things. Oh, is there really? Yes, there are. Void Rays.
Void Rays. And that's, I've lost to that. CrunCher's pulled that one on me before. I had more Colossus. In fact, I had like twice as many Colossus. But who gives a rat's ass when the other guy's got 9 Void Rays and you've got no Stalkers, man? That's what the Colossus do, is they're going to fry the Stalkers. And even if Whiterot wins the Colossus war, Void Rays take them down in 2 seconds flat. And powered up Void Rays. Quite powerful, man.
Yeah. But I have to kind of worry about that because, you know, the engagements, they're going to happen in open areas, and it's very far to have a continuation with the Void Rays, so they're not going to be consistently charged. And I'm kind of scared because the reinforcements, they're going to be very well upgraded. They're going to have well, right now they have 2-0 as their attack. Both of them are upgrading 3. And I kind of worry because the Void Rays being unupgraded, I feel like they're going to be very brittle against Stalkers.
That's a really good point. It's actually quite under the radar. A lot of people just look at the unit of the Void Ray in its entirety. They don't actually look at the upgrade, which is very, very important. As the game goes on, their susceptibility to falling to that high intensive fire from those upgraded Stalkers is going to be really detrimental. And you're absolutely right. Now, that's a lot of Colossus for both players, really, but it's more. Let's confirm. Yep, 2 more for CrunCher. Yep. But not a lot of gateway units, and that's actually a problem. He's only got the 3 Stalkers. That is really low.
Yeah.
Which means that every time this Colossus shoots at gateway units, they're getting hit by Colossus, and they have to shoot at gateway units because the gateway units will be the higher priority as they get closer to the Colossus. So I don't like this composition. In this case, actually, I'm going to go ahead and retract what I said. I don't like the Void Ray. Use that supply for charge lots, for Stalkers, whatever, but it's not the Colossus. The Colossus doesn't take a lot of damage. I mean, I'm not complaining about its health at all, but it dies pretty quick, and oh no.
Oh my
CrunCher.
gosh.
CrunCher,
He might be looking to attack. Oh, I don't like this concave at all. And actually catches a couple units off, but still the concave... the concaves are a little bit off, but I'm not... No, there's way too big of concave for White Raw. He's looking great in this battle. And he starts on the Colossus. Look at this. Duckload Raw isn't even getting eaten into any of his Colossus.
Oh my God.
Every single one of them die. Holy crap. He's up 8 Colossus from that battle.
Insurmountable. Right. Unless you have 5 Stargates producing nothing but Void Rays right now. And he doesn't. That's the moral of that story, if you need. That was really problematic. I mean, I'll break that down after the game, but holy cow. And White Raw playing almost too safe at this point. I'd say get on your horse. Whenever you have 6, 7, 8 Colossus, let alone advantage over your player, they're unstoppable. There's no amount of gateway units you can make right now that stops that. It has to be a hard counter like other Colossus or Stargate units, and frankly, they don't build fast enough.
Yeah, quite problematic. And now these 8 Colossus move in and kill this right-hand expansion. And it looks like CrunCher is just trying to grab at things, trying to get back into this game. But with that huge Colossus deficit, 2 Colossus out in the field now to White Raw's 9, and he doesn't need to scale with them anymore. We saw him get High Templars instead, which I love that decision. You don't need to overdo it and potentially lose to, let's say, as you said, 5 Stargate Mass Void Ray.
Right.
You know, it's unnecessary. So he's just building his other army. We can see the Archons are out.
They're not armored, so they don't take extra damage from those Void Rays. They have area of effect damage, and the tendency for Void Rays is to bunch up even. Just a really good choice. And this game's going to settle down here, but honestly, look at the economic layout. It's 1 base down. What is this? Well, I guess they're on equal bases, kind of. White Raw's setting up the next one, but it was the big fight.
Yeah, the units lost.
Deficit's huge.
Unit lost 5,000 mineral and gas difference
in a mirror matchup.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a little bit extreme, and we do see CrunCher. Yeah, he did switch off. Do you see him having 3? But still, they're unupgraded, man. They're unupgraded still. 0, 0, 0.
Yeah.
These Stalkers are gonna smash through them.
And the Void Rays are diversifying their fire. Some are shooting at. They're not.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's just too much. They're getting spread out here. Colossus doing all the damage. There's a GG. Wow. And to break down that game just a little bit, let's talk about the main engagement there, because that was problematic. What essentially happened was CrunCher got really confident in his army. He's like, you know what? I feel like I'm ahead in Colossus. I need to move forward. I'm maxed-ish. It's time. I've got my 4-base economy behind this. I think he was setting up his 5th, transferring to it. So I can just say, Protoss in general look at that and go, oh yeah, my army's disposable. But in a mirror matchup, in particular, if you're behind in Colossus, I mean, if they have a Colossus watch there, if Colossus kill all the Colossus and they're gone, not that big of a deal. That's fine. But the Colossus is a downhill unit.
Yeah.
If there's 6, 7, 8 of them, they are a standalone force. To build on that kind of advantage is insurmountable. Again, if it was just like 1 or 2 Colossus survive, who cares? Not a big deal. But when 8 survived, it was game over.
Yeah. And I think it came down to, as you said before, the unit composition. When you have 3 stalkers in your army and just a couple of zealots, and your opponent has more than that, there's a lot of levels you have to go to until you kill the Colossus. You get to the Colossus. There's the Zealot level, then the Stalker level, then you finally get to the Colossus level. Talking about the levels of attacking for your own Colossus. Right. And when you have nothing, and you go straight to the Colossus, which is basically what he had to do, it didn't matter how many Colossus you had, because you still had to deal with the Zealots, you still had to deal with my Stalkers, and that's why I think inevitably White Raw was able to take that game very, very handily.
And it's a greedy mistake, but it's a common one. I myself have done it countless times, because the easy answer is, 7 Colossus are good. Well, I think 11 are fantastic. And yeah, to a certain extent they are, but I almost feel like optimally you have like 7 or 8 Colossus and then the rest of your supply in gateway units, as we saw White Raw do, because even if they focus down the gateway units, they're getting hit by 7 or 8 Colossus that are doing stack damage, and they will kill 5 or 6 Colossus.